Have you ever studied something for so long that you started to feel like maybe it just wasn't meant for you? Like no matter how many videos you watched, how many vocabulary lists you memorized, you were still afraid to speak. I've been there. A few years ago, I met a man named Luis. He was from Mexico. He had been in the US for nearly 10 years. He worked hard, paid his bills, raised his kids, and every night he studied English. But every time he tried to speak to a neighbor or order food or just say how he felt, his voice got stuck in his throat. "I know the words," he told me, "but when it's time to speak, it's like my mind goes quiet." And I'll never forget what he said next. "I don't feel like I belong in English." That broke my heart. Because I've seen so many people just like Luis, maybe just like you, smart, capable, hardworking people, who think fluency is only for the talented ones, or for people who grew up in English-speaking countries, or for someone else. But here's what I want to tell you today, from the bottom of my heart. English is not a gift. It's a habit. And habits can be built by anyone, including you. So welcome, my amazing learners, to Jackson English Stories, the place where we don't just study English. We live it, one real story at a time. In this video, you're going to learn something deeper than grammar. You'll discover the real reason you still hesitate when speaking and what to do about it. You'll understand why your brain freezes, why your accent makes you feel nervous, and how to build confidence, even if you only have 15 minutes a day. I'll share with you the exact steps to think in English without translating, speak naturally without fear, and most importantly, believe in yourself again. So take a deep breath. Grab your notebook or just listen with your heart, because this isn't just another English lesson. This is the beginning of a new story, your story. Let's begin. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had this experience? You're watching a movie in English. You understand most of it. You read articles, maybe even books, and you get the meaning. But then someone asks you a simple question like, "So, what did you do today?" And suddenly, your mind goes completely blank. You want to answer. You know the words, but nothing comes out. If that's ever happened to you, please know this. You're not alone. And more importantly, it's not your fault. I remember one of my students, Isha, from Egypt. She had studied English for over 10 years. She knew advanced grammar, even passed the IELTS test with a high score. But when she came to the US and tried to talk to someone at a grocery store, she panicked. She said she felt like a child again, powerless, silent. And she told me something that stayed with me. I don't need more grammar. I need to feel like myself in English. So why does this happen? Why do so many people study for years but still feel afraid to speak? Because traditional learning teaches us how to pass exams, but it doesn't teach us how to connect through language. We spend years memorizing vocabulary lists, filling in grammar worksheets, translating back and forth between languages. But real conversation, real expression, that part gets left behind. Here's what I want you to remember. There's a difference between knowing English and living it. You can know thousands of words and still freeze in real life. Why? Because your brain has never been trained to use English in motion, in emotion, in real time. So what's the lesson here? If you only learn English on paper, you'll only speak it in your head. But if you live it, practice it out loud, hear it daily, and make mistakes without shame, that's when it becomes yours. That's when speaking becomes natural. And don't worry, because in the next part of this video, I'm going to show you the real reason behind that fear. Not just the fear of speaking, but the fear of being judged, misunderstood, or sounding wrong. Because before we fix your English, we have to set your confidence free. Let's talk about that. There's a lie that almost every English learner has been told. A quiet lie, a dangerous one. A lie that keeps people stuck for years. You have to speak perfectly before you speak at all. Sound familiar? Maybe someone once corrected your grammar in front of others. Maybe you were laughed at because of your accent. Or maybe you just told yourself, I'm not ready yet. I need to study more. I want to tell you a story. A few months ago, I met a man named Ravi. He moved from India to New York for work. He was smart, experienced, and spoke 3 languages fluently. But at work, he stayed quiet during meetings. One day, during lunch, I asked him why. He smiled politely and said, because I still make small mistakes. My grammar is not perfect yet. So I asked him, do your coworkers understand you when you speak? He said, yes. Do they respect your ideas? He nodded, I think so. Then what are you waiting for? He paused for a moment and said, I guess I'm waiting to feel like I sound smart. And that's exactly what this lie does to people. It doesn't just stop your mouth, it makes you question your value. It makes you believe that your voice only matters when it's perfect. But here's the truth. Perfect English does not exist. Not even native speakers speak perfectly. They make grammar mistakes. They say, like, they change their minds mid-sentence. And guess what? No one cares. Because communication is not about perfection, it's about connection. So here's a small shift that can change everything. Don't aim to speak perfectly. Aim to speak honestly. Even if your sentence isn't perfect, even if your accent is strong, even if you forget a word, if you speak with confidence and kindness, people will listen. And the more you speak, the more natural it becomes. So here's your mini challenge. Next time you feel the urge to stay silent because you're not ready, speak anyway. Say it wrong, say it slow, but say it, because fluency doesn't come from waiting, it comes from doing. In the next part of this journey, we'll go even deeper into the real emotion that hides behind silence. It's not just the lie of perfection. It's something older, something deeper. It's fear. And it's time we face it together. Let's keep going. Let's be honest. Sometimes it's not about the words, it's not about grammar or vocabulary or pronunciation. It's about something deeper. It's about the fear of being judged. I remember talking to a woman named Sophia. She was from Brazil. Her English was actually pretty good. She understood almost everything, but she rarely spoke. One evening after class, I asked her why. She looked down, hesitated, then said, because I don't want people to think I'm stupid. That moment was quiet, but powerful, because she didn't say, I don't know enough English. She didn't say, I need more practice. She said, I don't want to look stupid. And I realized something. Sophia didn't have a language problem. She had a shame problem. And maybe, so do you. Because speaking a new language is like standing on stage naked. You're showing your thoughts, your effort, your mistakes. You're stepping out of the safe zone of silence. And that's terrifying. You think, what if I say it wrong? What if they laugh? What if I sound like a child? Let me tell you something important. Fear is not a sign that you're weak. Fear is a sign that you care. You care about how people see you. You care about being understood. You care about doing it right. And that's okay. But you can't let that fear decide your future. Here's a little lesson I've learned from coaching hundreds of learners. Fluency isn't the absence of fear. It's the courage to speak even when fear is there. Even native speakers feel nervous in new situations. Even professional speakers mess up their words. But they speak anyway. So what can you do? Practice speaking in safe places first. To yourself, in the mirror, with a friend you trust, in your room, out loud, like you're rehearsing life. Because the more you speak, the quieter fear becomes. Not because the fear disappears, but because you grow louder than it. And when you start feeling braver, you're ready for the next big shift. It's a lesson we often forget as adults, but one that every child knows by heart. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to try again. In the next part, we'll talk about how to learn English like a child with curiosity, courage, and a little bit of messiness. Let's keep going. Let me ask you something simple. How did you learn your first language? Did you memorize grammar charts? Did you take vocabulary tests? Of course not. You learn by watching, by listening, by trying, and by making lots and lots of mistakes. I remember watching my niece when she was just 2 years old. She could barely speak, but she was fearless. She would point at things and say this. She would try to repeat words that sounded nothing like the original. She would fall, stumble, laugh, and try again. And no one ever told her, "Your grammar is wrong." No one ever said, "You sound funny." We just encouraged her, smiled, waited, repeated, and slowly she learned. Now here's the powerful part. That same brain, the one you used as a child, is still inside you. It's just been buried under expectations, pressure, and fear of failure. But if you want to learn English like a pro, you need to first think like a child. Here's what that means. Be curious. Don't worry if something is too simple. Ask why. Explore words. Be fearless. Say things out loud even if they're wrong. Be repetitive. Children hear the same words every day. That's how they remember. Be playful. Learning doesn't have to feel like a test. It can feel like a game. Let me give you a real-life example. One of my learners, Marco, was 42 years old when he started learning English seriously. He told me, "I always thought I was too old to learn like a child." But I gave him one small task. Every morning, talk to himself in the mirror for 1 minute like a child would. He said simple things like, "I am brushing my teeth. I am brushing my teeth. I like coffee. Today is sunny. I am happy." At first, it felt silly, but after 2 weeks, he said something beautiful. "I stopped thinking about being wrong. I just started talking." And that changed everything. Here's the lesson. Language is not a subject. It's a habit. And the best way to build a habit is to make it feel safe. Children don't learn fast because they're young. They learn fast because they're not afraid to try. And now, neither are you. So what's next? Now that you've got the mindset of a fearless learner, let's build your English environment. Because no matter where you live, you can surround yourself with English and turn your daily life into a language lesson. Let's dive into that next. Imagine this. You want to grow a beautiful plant. What do? You don't just read books about it. You don't just memorize the names of the leaves. You create the right environment. You put it in the sun. You water it every day. You make sure it lives in the right soil. And then, slowly but surely, it grows. Learning English is the same. You can't grow fluency in a place where English only appears 20 minutes a day. You need to build a little ecosystem around yourself where English is not just something you study, it's something you live in. I call it the 3S method: surround, soak, speak. Let's break it down. 1. Surround yourself with English. Start simple. Change your phone and apps to English. Set your social media to English. Follow English-speaking creators. Even when you scroll, you're learning. Label things in your house. Stick a note on your mirror. mirror. On your fridge, refrigerator. On your door, door. Now your home becomes your classroom without you even noticing. 2. Soak it in. Think of your brain like a sponge. The more English you hear, the more it absorbs. Listen to English podcasts while washing dishes. Watch short YouTube videos while on the bus. Play English music while you cook. It's okay if you don't understand everything. Your brain is listening even when you're not trying. That's how babies learn. That's how you learned your first language. 3. Speak. Even if no one's listening. This is where the magic happens. Talk to yourself, out loud, every day. In the shower, while making breakfast, while walking alone. Say simple things. I'm hungry. It's cold today. I like this song. The more you say it, the more your brain believes, hey, I actually speak English. Let me tell you about Emma, a student from Poland. She didn't have anyone to practice English with. No native speakers, no language classes. But she did one thing every day. She spoke to herself in English for 5 minutes. After 3 months, her confidence completely changed. She told me, I stopped waiting for the perfect opportunity to speak. I created it for myself. So here's your takeaway today. Don't wait for English to come to you. Bring English into your world bit by bit every single day. It doesn't have to be big, it just has to be everywhere. And once English becomes part of your daily world, there's one more thing you need to stop doing something that's holding you back more than you realize. It's not fear, it's not vocabulary, it's grammar obsession. In the next part, we'll talk about how to stop worrying about grammar and finally start speaking freely. Let's go there together. Let me tell you a little secret. Some of my most confident students still make grammar mistakes, and some of the students with the highest test scores, they barely speak. Why? Because they spent years learning the rules but never learned how to use them. I had a student named Haruto from Japan. He could explain the difference between past perfect and present perfect continuous. He knew what a conditional clause was. He had pages of grammar notes, color-coded and beautiful. But when someone asked him, "What did you do over the weekend?" he froze. Why? Because language doesn't live in rules. It lives in real sentences, real feelings, real life. Let me be clear. Grammar is not bad, but grammar is not where you should start. Think of grammar like seasoning in cooking. It adds flavor, clarity, and precision. But it's not the meal. The meal is communication, and that starts with simple, usable sentences. So here's a better way to learn. Instead of memorizing this, the present continuous tense is formed by using to be verb meising. Just learn this. I'm eating, she's working, we're watching TV. And say it out loud. Here's something you can do right now. Pick one structure. Just one. For example, I'm plus verbing, and use it to describe your day. I'm waking up, I'm brushing my teeth, I'm getting dressed, I'm going to work. That's it. Say it again and again like a rhythm. Let it become automatic. Because once you feel comfortable using real phrases, grammar will start to make sense naturally. I remember one student, Rosa, from Colombia. She told me, grammar used to make me feel small. But when I started speaking full sentences, short, real, honest ones, I finally felt like I had a voice. And that's what this is all about. Not passing a test, not impressing a teacher, but using English to express you. Don't study grammar. Absorb it through speaking. Just like a child doesn't know what past tense means, but still says, I went to school. You can do the same. Start with real speech. Let grammar follow you, not lead you. And now that we've freed you from the prison of perfection and grammar charts, It's time to look at something many learners avoid, but actually helps you sound more natural, more clear, and more you. Let's talk about pronunciation without the pressure. Ready? When people say, "I want to speak English better," what they often mean is, "I want to sound more natural." But here's the problem. Some learners think that sounding natural means sounding American or British or like someone they saw on TV. And because they don't sound like that, they feel like their English is not good enough. Let me stop you right here. You do not need a perfect accent. You do not need to erase your voice. You just need to be clear, and you need to sound like yourself in English. Let me tell you a story. There was a man named Kofi from Ghana. He spoke English his whole life. It's one of the national languages there. But when he moved to Canada, someone said, "You speak English, but you have an accent." Kofi smiled and said, "Yes, I do. So do you." And he was right. Everyone has an accent. Even Americans, even Australians, even people from different cities in the same country. An accent doesn't mean you're wrong, it means you're human. Now let's talk about what does matter. Clarity, rhythm, confidence, and you can improve all three with simple habits. No pressure, no perfection. 1. Listen and repeat, shadowing. Find a short sentence from a video or podcast. Listen carefully. Then repeat exactly like you're an actor in a movie. Focus on intonation, stress, and music of the sentence. You don't have to say it perfectly. Just try to feel the flow. Example, "I'm going to the store." Don't say it word by word. Feel how it slides. "I'm gonna the store." Do this for 5 minutes a day. It works. I promise. 2. Record your voice. Yes, it feels awkward. Yes, you might hate the sound of your own voice, but recording yourself helps you see the difference between what you think you said and what you actually said. Listen, compare, adjust, repeat. That's how you grow. 3. Don't overcorrect. Sometimes students ask me, should I say water or wadur? Should I pronounce every T clearly? And I say it clearly, not perfectly. Choose the version that feels natural to you as long as the listener understands. One of my students, Anna from Italy, once told me, "I used to feel embarrassed about my accent, but then I realized people don't care how I speak. They care about what I'm saying." That's the moment she stopped hiding. And that's the moment her English started to shine. Your goal is not to sound like someone else. Your goal is to be understood and unforgettable. So speak clearly, speak with heart, and speak without apology. Now that you're learning to trust your voice, let's practice using it in the moment, without freezing, without overthinking. In the next part, I'll show you the 3-second rule that helps you speak naturally, even when your brain wants to panic. Let's keep going. Let me ask you something simple. Have you ever known the answer, but didn't say it because you were afraid of saying it wrong? You had the words. They were right there. But instead of speaking, you hesitated, and the moment passed. That's not a language problem. That's an overthinking problem. I had a student named Min from Vietnam. He understood English very well. But during conversations, there would always be a long pause before he replied. Sometimes 10, 15, even 20 seconds. He wasn't being rude. He was thinking, translating, rephrasing, rechecking his grammar. And by the time he was ready to answer, the conversation had already moved on. One day, I gave him a small challenge. "Min, next time someone asks you a question, just answer in 3 seconds. Even if it's not perfect, even if it's messy, just speak." He looked nervous, but he tried. The first time, he said, "I go to shop yesterday." He laughed. "Wrong grammar." But I said, "You spoke." That's what matters. By the end of the week, he was responding faster. By the end of the month, he wasn't just speaking. He was joking in English. This is what I call the 3-second rule. When someone asks you a question, respond within 3 seconds. Why? Because the longer you wait, the louder your inner critic becomes. And the truth is, most people don't notice your little mistakes. They notice your energy, your confidence, your willingness to connect. Let's try it right now. Imagine I ask you, what did you eat for lunch? Don't think too hard. Just say something. I ate noodles. I had rice and chicken. Just a sandwich. That's it. Keep it simple. Keep it honest. Don't wait for perfection because perfection always shows up late. The goal is not to sound smart. The goal is to stay in the conversation. And the more you practice this rule, the faster your brain learns to trust your mouth. You build fluency, not by thinking more, but by speaking more. Now that you've learned to speak without fear, let's talk about something even more powerful. Thinking in English. Because the real fluency doesn't start on your tongue. It starts in your mind. Let's explore that next. If I could give you one superpower to learn English faster, it wouldn't be a bigger vocabulary. It wouldn't even be perfect grammar. It would be this: the ability to think in English. Because here's the truth. Most learners translate in their heads. They think in their native language first, then try to find the English words, then worry if it's right, then finally speak. But by the time the sentence is ready, the moment is gone. I remember a student named Ellie from Turkey. She was smart, funny, and full of ideas. But when she spoke in English, she always paused. She told me, "In my head, I'm still speaking Turkish. I translate everything and it's exhausting." So I asked her to try something new. I gave her a challenge. For 1 week, don't speak more. Just think differently. Here's what she did. Day 1, she named everything she saw in English. Chair, window, book, phone. Day 2, she made short sentences in her head. I'm walking, I'm cooking, I'm tired. Day 3-7, she started to think about her day in English. Today is busy. I need to finish work. I miss my mom. No grammar rules, no pressure, just quiet thoughts in English. And you know what happened? By the end of the week, her words came out faster. Not because she had learned more words, but because her brain wasn't translating anymore. She was thinking in English. So why does this matter? Because the more naturally you think in English, the more naturally you will speak in English. There's no delay, no mental traffic. Your words flow the way your thoughts do. Here's how you can start today. Step 1. Start small. Begin by naming things around you in English. Glass, fork, table, bag. Do this every time you enter a room. Step 2. Describe what you're doing. Use simple present tense. I'm making tea. I'm brushing my hair. I'm opening the window. You don't have to speak out loud, just think it. Step 3. Reflect in English. At night, review your day in your mind. Today was good. I felt tired. I met a friend. It's like writing a diary without a pen. This habit rewires your brain. Bit by bit, you'll stop depending on your native language. And one day, without even realizing it, you'll say a sentence in English, and only after you'll notice, wait, I didn't translate that, I just said it. That's real fluency. Don't just learn English, let your brain live in it. You don't need a new country. You don't need a new teacher. You just need a new mindset. And now, my friend, you're ready for the final and most important shift of all. Because even with everything you've learned, if you don't build a daily system, you'll lose momentum. So in the last part of this journey, I'll show you how to build your own English system, one that fits your life, your time, and your dreams. Let's finish strong. Let's clear something up once and for all. Fluency is not a gift. It's not something you're born with. It's not about being good at languages. It's about being consistent. I've seen this again and again. Two students, same age, same level. One improves quickly, the other stays stuck. What's the difference? One waits for motivation. The other builds a system. I had a student named Natalia. She was a nurse, working long hours at a hospital. She had no time for English classes, no language exchange partner. But she created a simple routine. 10 minutes of podcast while commuting. 5 minutes of speaking to herself in the mirror. 3 new words written in a notebook every day. 1 English video before bed. That's it. No fancy course, no perfect grammar. Just small actions repeated daily. And after 6 months, she didn't just understand more. She spoke with calm, clear confidence, because English had become part of her life. Here's the truth no one tells you. Success doesn't come from intensity. It comes from consistency. You don't need to study 3 hours a day. You just need to do something every day, even 15 minutes, but every single day. So what kind of system works? The best system is the one that fits your life. Maybe it looks like this. Time action morning. Name 5 things around you in English. Afternoon. Listen to 10 minutes of English while walking. Evening. Speak 3 sentences out loud. Night. Watch 1 short video, plus write 1 reflection. Keep it flexible, keep it simple, and most importantly, keep it going. You don't have to feel motivated every day. You just need a system that works even when you don't feel like it. That's how fluency is built, quietly, slowly, and beautifully. So here's your final takeaway. You don't need more talent. You just need a plan, a rhythm, a routine, and a belief that you can do this. Because you can. And now, you're not alone. In the next few seconds, I'll invite you to reflect, to commit, and to take that very first step. But before we do that, take a deep breath. Look at how far you've come, and know this. You're not just learning English anymore, you're becoming someone new with every sentence you speak. Let's close this journey together. So here we are. You've made it through the full journey. 10 steps, 10 shifts, and hopefully a new way of seeing yourself as an English speaker. Now I want you to pause, just for a moment, and ask yourself, what's one thing I can start doing today? Not next week, not when life is less busy, just today. Because small steps matter more than big dreams that stay on paper. Let me tell you one last story. There was a man named Jorge from Peru. He watched videos like this one for months, just listening, taking notes, but never speaking. Until one day, he paused a video and said 1 sentence out loud. Just 1. I am learning English. I am not afraid. That sentence changed something in him. He wrote it on a sticky note, put it on his wall, said it every morning before work. Now, he speaks with clients from all over the world, and he still keeps that note on his wall. Because it wasn't about fluency, it was about commitment. So here's my gentle invitation to you. Leave a comment below and finish this sentence. I will practice my English today by. It can be simple. I'll say 3 sentences aloud. I'll listen to a podcast on the way to work. I'll write 1 short paragraph about my day. It's not about impressing anyone. It's about showing up for yourself. And if this video helped you, if it made you feel a little more brave, a little more hopeful, a little more ready, then like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share it with someone who needs a little courage today. Because your words might inspire someone else to begin. Just like you did. Here on Jackson English Stories, we don't just teach English, we grow through it together. So thank you for being here, for learning, and for choosing to keep going. This is not the end. This is a beginning. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep speaking, keep dreaming, and keep becoming. One word at a time.